Good morning, Ashley from Virgin Media here. I'm just going to take you through my day-to-day. To start the day, obviously, we'd always make sure our vans are in good check and we've got stock and things like that in the back. All our tools are ready, and we'd get ready to leave, check the van, check the brakes, just check it's in a clean, tidy condition, ready for work. We'd always start off using our PDA. We'll get our jobs list through here for a set of routers in Birmingham. So I'll just log on to that to show you. So it will appear like this. And you'll have several jobs to go to. So my first job of the day is 30 St John's Avenue, so I'm just going to make my way there. And then before I start my day, I just always make sure I have a quick check of the van, make sure it's clean and tidy inside the pit. So all my consumables, which are things that I would use for everyday jobs like splitters, TV remotes, things like that, I keep either here or in these boxes here, or there's a little shelf that I'll show you around the back in a minute. All my equipment I keep up here. So this is my new equipment. I always keep that at the top so it's in date. That's also new, but stuff at the bottom I generally will leave that to last. So we work on a 28-day return policy, so every 3 weeks or so I'll always try and return back my equipment so I can restock. And if I just show you into the back here, I've got my step ladders in case I have to do any climbing. I've got my long ladders back there. They're my 3-tier ladders. Any old equipment I stock at the back of the van so that's ready to return and I know what's good and what's bad. I've got all these consumables here as well, so these are generally things that would go on the cables, like your attenuators that lower the signal, your isolators or your splitters, and all my cabling I keep stocked under here out of the way so I can have this as clear as possible to avoid any health and safety problems. So this is pretty much the stuff I use every single job. So this little gold box, 908 3-meter, what this does is effectively tells you if there's any damage on telephone cables at all. So that's that. I've got my butt phone, so you can use these plugins to test inside the cabinets as well as in customers' properties. It's my jumper wire to wire up any telco. Keep my boot covers all the time in my bag, so when I enter customers' properties it's nice and tidy and we're not treading in any. This meter here is my VX meter. This will tell me all signals coming through the Cat B cables, or if there's any sort of issue coming out of the cabinet, or if there's any issue on the cables via an ingress test, which is a reverse path test. That's that. Also here I've got my toners. You plug these onto the telephone cable outside a customer's house and you can trace back to the cabinet exactly which cable's theirs because it will make a little beeping noise. And then I've just got a few hand tools just for general stuff, cutting cables, tightening connectors, making F connectors with this, your screwdrivers for unloosening isolator covers and things like that. And then also I always carry this with me. This is my gas monitor. I turn this on every time I go into cabinets just to ensure there's no gas leakages and we remain safe while we're out doing our job. So my customer's quite far away from the cabinet, so they want to be on a more powerful tap. So I'm just trying to find someone who's a bit closer, so if I swap them out, their service shouldn't be affected. Any loose connections can cause problems with every single person in this cabinet, so you just want to make sure, otherwise people will start getting slow broadband and intermittent faults, and then eventually someone's internet will get blocked off, so you're better off just tightening everything up while you're here. Got my gas monitor on just to make sure that there's no gas coming out of the cabinet. Make sure we're nice and safe. We're done in here so we can put everything back and then head back to our customer's property. This is the connection box where basically the main cable from the cabinet to the house comes in and connects to any cables going inside the house. it's always worth coming in here just to check that any changes you've made outside have actually made a difference and the power's okay, so you've not got any issues on the main cable coming in. So you'll always know which one the drop cable is because it will come in from the ground or from across, whereas the other one will generally go straight into the house. So we know this cable is the power cable where we get all our signal from. So we're going to unscrew that, get our meter out. Outside it's currently 12 to 4. It's quite a high tilt, but that should be okay. Okay, so just finished at my first job. It was an internet fault. The return power was a little bit high, which is generally what you get from splitters or any loss of signal through the cables. The main reason why the return power was high because there was a splitter in the cabinet. So I've just removed that and placed them on their own tap so that they have the right amount of power going into the house. Replaced the isolator and the splitter inside the house just to make sure they weren't sort of fluctuating the amount of signal that was coming through to and from. Everything appears to be fine with the job now. Everything sat in spec, so the return power sat at about 48 now. Also, when I got there, I noticed that the phone was not working. I realised that it had been unplugged from the D side, so I just reconnected that, went inside, done an Ernie test, and everything appears to be okay. Ernie test, by the way, is a callback test where Virgin Media will ring back the customer just to check that the line's working okay. It's all good, on to the next one. This is my second job. The issue is that the TV is having pixelating signals on certain channels. The internet appears to be okay according to the customer, but there's definitely seem to have been some issues with it. So the whole thing should be clear of noise, and if there does show any noise, that would mean the drop cable would appear to have some form of damage on it. So we're just going to head to the cabinet, which will generally be within 100 metres or so of the house. Just stick our gas monitor in the cabinet. Make sure there's no gas leakages or anything like that come in. If you ever forget things like which house you're actually at, just go refer back to your PDA. What we want to do, the signal was very marginally too low, so we want to see whether that's because it's not getting enough power from the cabinet or because the cable itself has got slight damage on it. So we're going to test the cable first, just to see if there's any noise visible. Remember, we've already checked the whole house, so therefore there should be no noise showing up on this cable. So that there, that crackling up 9, that would suggest there is noise on the cable. Just to double check, what we'll do, we'll go back to the Omni box and completely disconnect all the internal cables to make sure it is the external. Again, just in the Omni box to check the connections coming in. We've already discovered a three-way splitter further down the line that weren't needed, so that would have been causing noise. We just want to check the signal is as it should be and that there isn't any noise coming from the actual main connection coming into the house. From the garden forwards, everything seemed to be okay, but definitely from the drop cable back, there was definitely noise showing on there. To resolve it, I spoke to my AFC, who authorised me to get a repull booked, so that's been booked in now. I've notified the customer of exactly when that'll be done, and she seems quite happy that she knows it will be getting resolved. Okay, so I'm just doing a pre-check now. So basically that's when we wire up a customer up to their house, making sure they have the right signal and that their phone line's all ready to go. I've just plugged into the E side, which is all the green slots here. The E side is the main one which gives you your phone number, and then it goes down the line. So the next step is the D side. Each individual customer will have their own D side which connects to a cabinet close to their house. So I've already checked this and this is live. I'm going to wire it up to the D side and then check from there, and then we'll head to the cabinet outside their property. This is a jumper cable. Again, I've already checked their E side, which is 94, that's that customer specific one. and we're plugging it into 166. So this customer that's currently in 94 will no longer be active, and that's why the switch has given me this number. Blue cable to the right and the yellow cable to the left. Once that's all plugged in there, just want to make sure that you test it again. It could be faulty cable or it could be a faulty D-side. As you can hear, we've got dial in tone. So we'll quickly do a call back just to check that the E-side's working as it should as well.
Thanks again. Okay, please end the call and we'll call straight back. Thanks and goodbye.
We get monitored on our callback test, so what I try to do is I'll always leave it to ring a few times just to make sure that it registers and it will affect our KPIs in a positive way. As you can hear, it's nice and clear, so the D side appears to be fine here and the E side in the main cabinet. So now that we've done that, that's everything done for here, and then we can head to the other cabinet and see what we can find there. So just a quick overview of my day. I've finished now. The time is 10 to 4, so I'm just wrapping up with my last customer. I finish at 4 o'clock, so that'll be enough time to head home. The day went quite well. I managed to resolve all my customers' problems. There was a couple where I needed third-party help from my AFC. In particular, one of the jobs I had to do a repull. So I haven't done it myself, but I've had to book it in. The repull is when, from the cabinet to the house, the cable is damaged. So yeah, that's booked in for the customer. Other than that, I think the day went quite smoothly. I haven't really had much luck with RAF because I haven't seen many customers, as quite a few of my jobs have been quick starts. As well as that, I've had to convert 2 of my quick starts, meaning they all need an install, as I can't access the property. Without accessing the property, there's no way that I can say whether or not it's working up to the house, so that's why they're needed. But yeah, other than that, I think I've had a pretty good day. Finished on time and about to head home, so see you later.